This recipe for arroz con pollo is somewhat of a family heirloom recipe. My dad and my grandfather, my mom's father, spent years tinkering with this recipe, trying to get it perfect. A few years ago, my grandfather passed away, and when he did, my dad taught it to me. It reminds me of watching them cook in the kitchen together growing up. I love this recipe because it's actually more of a cross between paella and arroz con pollo. It uses Valencia rice, which is typical in a paella, versus a long grain rice. And it also has beautiful saffron, which gives it this really rich, warm color, along with the tumeric. For this dish, I really like to use dark meat. So I have a few thighs and a few drumsticks. They're bone in and they have the skin on, which gives it a little bit more flavor. So I start with heating a few tablespoons of olive oil in a Dutch oven, or you can even use a large pot if you like. And then I add the chicken to the hot oil and brown them on each side for 3 to 4 minutes. You pretty much want to cook the chicken about 3/4 of the way. After the chicken is cooked, I remove it from the pan and I set it aside. I reduce the heat a little bit, and then I add some diced onion and cook until translucent, about 7 minutes. Then I add the garlic and I throw in the red bell pepper and I throw in the tomatoes and I cook all of that for a few more minutes. Then I add my spices, the cumin, saffron, turmeric, paprika, and a little bit of salt. Next, I dump in the uncooked rice and mix it really well with the spice and vegetable mixture. I add the chicken back to the pot, nestling it into the rice, and then I top it with the chicken stock, and then I bring the entire mixture to a simmer and cook it for about 30 to 45 minutes. This recipe is a little tricky because you have to check on it every 10 to 15 minutes and test the rice to see where it's at. If the broth is a little low, you might want to add a little bit more, about a half a cup at a time, until the rice is completely cooked. There's no need to stir it or anything, you just simply have to taste the rice and cook it until it's completely done. In the last 15 minutes, I usually add a little bit of salt to taste. Once it's done, it's ready to serve.